How's it going, Tim?
It's going great. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's working now. Yeah.
Well, I know you're about to catch a flight, so we'll make it quick and short. I want to start off with a totally separate topic, which is the 6 states. You tried to do something which what we call as decentralization, almost like what, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and then that failed. I got enough signatures, but somehow the signature counters counted them down and said, oh, no, these only 60% of these are good or whatever,
right,
to make sure that the thing didn't get on the ballot.
Right.
And then I did 3 Californias, and I got twice the number of signatures I needed, and so it was ready to go on the ballot. And then for some reason, the Supreme Court of California decided not to let you vote on whether you wanted 3 Californias. They said it would be disruptive to California. And that was the point. And actually the point I was really making is that California is corrupt and it's run by a very strong set of unions, and they basically control the court. So there you go. Sorry you didn't get to vote.
Are you planning to do another initiative anytime soon?
Well, I don't know. I sort of thought that was kind of checkmate. I think I lost. But, you know, there's probably, if you can come up with something else, I'm always game to see if there's some new ideas for California. All I know is that the service keeps getting worse and the taxes keep going up, and so all of the very successful people are moving to this state or to Texas or to some other
Florida,
state.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we have a bunch of ideas. We'll definitely get it up to you, and then radical ideas. Today's panel is basically what are the catalysts or what are the mechanisms by which crypto will go mainstream? And this is just an open discussion, and then see what goes there. And we have Harpal Sandhu here. He runs Mint Exchange. Harpal, do you want to say quickly a little bit about Mint Exchange?
Yeah. So Mint Exchange is a new exchange for cryptocurrencies. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I hear you.
Hi. So we can just have this conversation right here. So Mint Exchange is a new exchange for cryptocurrencies. It's actually a spin out from Integral Corporation. Integral actually has been in the fiat currency space for about 20 years. And we, on the fiat side, trade about 3.5% of the global foreign exchange that is done on a daily basis, which amounts to somewhere between $40 and $50 billion a day. So we looked at the crypto market about a year ago and recognized that it was just lacking in a lot of things that we've spent the last 20 years building up. So in a way, we looked at it and said, you know, this is sort of back to the future. We could come back and deliver to the crypto market something that is at least 2 generations ahead of what the existing infrastructure looks like. So, you know, that's what Mint really is.
And you just mentioned something like that, 40 billion. I mean, I did this slide right before we got here. Let me see if I can bring it up. Let me go forward. I see this on mintexchange.io.
That's our slide? Yeah.
Yep,
okay.
That's the market depth. I took a screenshot of it like 2 hours ago. I don't see that level of depth at any of the other exchanges, but I have not heard of Mint Exchange before. So how are you able to do that? Can you explain this chart a little bit?
Right. Well, first of all, we haven't been public with Mint even as a name until about 8 weeks ago. So with the holidays and other things, I mean, it's literally been less than a month or so. So first of all, what you can't see necessarily unless you put your finger on it, if it was on a touch device or your mouse over, is that not only is a pretty tight spread in Bitcoin, but the top of those plateaus right there represent somewhere between 500 and 600 Bitcoin on each side. And if you follow that line down, you can see it's probably around $50 or so, $50 to $100 to get to almost 600 Bitcoin. And if you looked at that same graph on any one individual exchange, it's anywhere between 500 and maybe as high as $1,000 spread. And that difference is called depth.
Right.
Depth of liquidity. So the question is, how do we do that?
Yeah, because I looked at Kraken, and Kraken doesn't have that higher depth. And I've seen Kraken, Poloniex, Coinbase, and I was like, either we are fudging data here, which I don't think you're doing that, but.
No. So I think to answer this, we should just talk about how foreign exchange happens, right? So foreign exchange markets, for people that may not appreciate this, doesn't actually have a central exchange. Foreign exchange is what's called an OTC market. So fiat currencies is an OTC market. There are hundreds, thousands of market participants around the world, and they are now, 20 years later, electronically connected with each other, or interconnected. I mean, that's what Integral does, laying all that plumbing, connecting all those institutions. So it's an interconnected, what's called OTC market, over the counter, that aggregated up really represents the market. And the interesting thing about the crypto market, until the introduction of Mint, was they were completely fragmented. So they weren't connected. So what we actually did was connect 22 of the leading exchanges electronically, and can now show an aggregated view of that, what we call the real market.
Right.
We can calculate a midpoint for a reference price, with something the regulators really love. And we've actually built a execution management system to smart order route people's orders to actually use all that liquidity. So it's not just looking at it. You can actually trade on that liquidity and move 500 Bitcoins, 1,000 Bitcoins. I mean, $5 million worth of Bitcoin in 8 to 10 seconds, and smaller numbers of Bitcoins in 150 milliseconds. And most importantly, not move the market, which is really the important.
So when I'll get these emails saying, hey, I want to buy 100,000 Bitcoin.
100,000 Bitcoin.
100,000 Bitcoin. At first, I think that they're scammers, but if they're actually in the market for 100,000 Bitcoin, do they show up there?
If they want to buy, you meaning they're putting their bid in to buy 100,000
So they
Bitcoin?
have to somehow put that bid into one of those top 20 exchanges, and then you're good, right?
Two things would happen. First of all, nobody really is trading 100,000 Bitcoin in one fell swoop.
Yeah, unless they've got the origin block or something.
Well, even if they did it, they would so affect the market, it wouldn't be smart of them to do that. If they wanted to sell that much, they would use what's called an algorithm and execute it. But the answer to your question is...
Well, these guys wanted to buy.
Either way, they would move the market. They would dry up all the offers in the market. The answer would be anybody that puts a bid or an offer in any of the existing exchanges would immediately show up in this aggregated view. But more importantly, someone could act on the liquidity in the market without having to put in a bid and an offer, right? Without having to show their interest, they could actually go take the liquidity out. And that way they don't have to have what's called patience. They can actually immediately act. And they could act relatively anonymously because they're just going in and taking the liquidity out of the market. The beauty of what is now starting to happen is that what used to be individual silos, individual fragmented market participants can now be integrated, and the market is acting, the market is now represented as the real liquidity. We can now see the real liquidity as opposed to just what used to be called a mirage, right? Which is just bits and pieces and nobody really knew what it was.
So Tim, on the VC side of it, on the funding side of it, you have portfolio companies that are in this space. What have you seen, or what are the trouble points they are seeing to mainstream crypto? Because I think exchanges are this critical catalyst, at least this is our thesis, that if the on-ramp and the off-ramps are easy enough, it's going to get worldwide adoption.
Yeah, and that's, well, it's going to have to be more than just the exchanges. I think it's going to have to be everyone's going to have to go to their grocer and their Uber driver and their cab driver and their whoever and ask, do you take Bitcoin?
Right.
And then the world will start spreading that good word. But the things I'm seeing are a lot of interesting companies. There's one called OpenNode that is going to speed up the transactions on Bitcoin and make it so that on the Lightning Network, you can actually do trades at faster speeds than any Visa network ever had.
Right.
And that way, it opens up first, that kind of matches the system that we have, but eventually everybody's going to be using microtransactions. And so we're going to need 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times that speed. And then people will say, wow, this is something that I can use that I can't do with dollars. As soon as that happens, the floodgates open, and these charts become like really seriously red and really seriously to the right, because people will say, this is better currency.
Right.
I want to use this currency.
Do you, as part of the portfolio companies with Coinbase and the other ones, do you see some kind of a roadmap where they are trying to leap into the Forex exchanges, into the traditional exchanges, or they're trying to stay strictly crypto?
Oh, I think Coinbase wants to be your bank. Whatever your bank does, I think Coinbase is going to be there to be.
Not Robinhood.
Robinhood wants to be your broker.
Your equity broker.
And I think like Ledger wants to be your custody. Wants to do your custody. And
Where's Wells Fargo in between all of this?
Wells Fargo is going to resist this as far, and unless somebody at Wells Fargo wakes up and says, this is happening, it's inevitable.
Right.
We should be the bank that breaks rank with Citibank and whoever else. We should be the one. We break rank, suddenly we are the heroes of crypto. We take Bitcoin and we leave the other banks in the dust. So there will be a point where one bank breaks rank. And I think that'll be maybe a year or two from now.
Do you know which bank that is?
No, the smartest one.
Kumar starting up in Wyoming. That's an interesting scenario. I mean, we see Western Union as an example, right? They can jump on it instantaneously, and they can take what they're currently doing and make the service so much more cheaper, but they tend to resist it, and I'm not sure why. What do you think are the causes for them to resist that? It's almost like Netflix and Blockbuster repeating all over again, right?
Right, or Netflix and the movie studios.
Yep.
Where the movie studios say, oh, this digital thing, that'll never happen. And all of a sudden we're all streaming, and then they're going, oh, wait, well, we should stream too. But by the time they get there, Netflix has already taken over the market.
Yeah. I'm going to pull another quick slide here. Hopefully I can get to the next one.
Did I say that right, that if there's a lot of demand for Bitcoin, that the red would go up?
Both. Demand would be bids, so that would be on the bid side. Crypto actually does this backwards from every other exchange. But yes, the left side would go up if people want to buy because they're bidding into the market. And
right.
Offer size.
And then it'll, you're right, move right and up.
Everything moves right, price goes up, and more volume.
Yeah.
This is a quick chart, and I know if some graph guys are here, please forgive me. I was looking back for the total number of currency traded on the exchanges on a daily basis. There's a 3 trillion being traded. Out of that 3 trillion, 660 or roughly 600 billion is just in the retail space that is traded. And then crypto, all exchanges added is only closer to like 10 billion on a daily basis. Why is that? I mean, if exchange is a primary, even for Coinbase or for Mint Exchange, if that's the fundamental revenue generator, why hasn't crypto broken into the other fiat services and realm?
There's still only about 50 million crypto wallets. And there are a lot of other dollar wallets or peso wallets or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's a market share issue. Mm-hmm. And it will grow.
And Harpal,
I agree with that. But see, we operate in that space, right? So we operate in that 3 trillion, which is the total, and then 600 or so changes what we call, retail. So first off, most of the white is corporations and asset managers, right? So those are people who are actually using currency for their daily operations. So analogous to what I think, Tim, you're referring to as people using Bitcoin for the actual commerce. Even in currencies, in fiat currencies, the bulk of the transactions are taking place for people to actually buy things, purchase things, make payroll in other countries, whatever it may be. But what's interesting is that the 600 billion piece there, those are retail traders. Those are people that are speculating on the prices of currencies moving up or down purely for investment purposes. And so we actually looked at that and we said, you know, a lot of the crypto investment that led to the rise in the price wasn't fundamental demand because people were using it to buy things in the local store. It was demand based on expectation of future value of where that asset might go in the future. So what's interesting is that there already exists hundreds of millions of wallets in fiat currency trading accounts around the world in what are called Forex brokers. So they already have well over 250 million people around the world, half of which or 3/4 of which are in Asia, but they're already trading currencies today. So one of the things that we were looking at is if we are currently the systems that are supplying all the infrastructure that they're doing for this trading today, $600 billion a day in trading today, and we could extend that infrastructure to crypto, we would give them the rails to offer crypto products to their customers, which they were asking for, but they never really had. The customers were asking for it, but they had no means of getting to it through their existing brokers.
And why is that? I mean, it's a huge market share, right? I mean, anybody who's doing...
It's hard to do.
If I have an exchange today and I'm making that much margins on transactions and I suddenly see speculation happening on the crypto side, I would jump head over heel, build the pipeline and everything to get my customers in there as well.
They couldn't do it. The back end didn't exist. In the fiat space, the back end exists with all the banks. We have integrations with 200 banks around the world. There's CLS, there's all this infrastructure. That infrastructure didn't exist in crypto. What we had done, and the reason that Mint is a separate company than Integral, is we built that infrastructure for crypto, and we have offered it to those FX brokers. And it is just much easier for an investor who is already trading yen and sterling and euro to then also trade Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other product within their same account. And again, it's a technical term, but it's called capital. Efficiency of capital. Look at it this way. They've already got their money on account with a certain broker. 200 million plus of these accounts exist. If we go give those 200 million users access to crypto, there's a greater likelihood that they'll trade 1%, 2%, 5% of their investments now within crypto. Just do some simple math. $600 billion, you move 5% of, actually, I'll tell you, you move 1% of 600 billion is 6 billion. That's 60% of the entire crypto market.
It's pretty exciting that there is that much activity. 10 billion, it looks small on this chart, but $10 billion of crypto trading is enormous. Suddenly, this is a liquid market. It's moving.
Right.
It's exciting. I can trade my crypto. I can buy dollars, I can use my dollars, buy Bitcoin, I can do whatever I need to do. Because there is that much liquidity. People were saying, now people can short Bitcoin and isn't that going to be bad for Bitcoin? No, actually that creates incredible liquidity. And we end up with a much more liquid market. We can all use it in so many more ways. And this is just step one.
Right.
As soon as the retail opens up and we start saying, hey, I can use this at Starbucks, the sky's open.
Right. Well, if you say that the plumbing wasn't there and the infrastructure and the banks are you didn't have the connections to that fiat, wouldn't Coinbase, they've been in operation for more than 4 years, 5 years now, wouldn't Coinbase be able to just go buy out a bank and then directly link into it and then usurp every other banker there or broker there?
You know, I think that wouldn't be a surprise if they went and bought a bank.
Right. So they're about
I
to
think
do
it's
that.
more likely that they'll buy a bank than a bank will buy them.
Right.
I don't think they're going to really want a bank to buy them.
So I'll ask you a
But I
second
think
question.
the banks will be very interested in buying them.
Do you know which bank Coinbase might be looking top 3?
Do you have a bank for sale?
You know, interesting side note, March 9, 2009, Wells Fargo was trading $7. And the very next day it was $21. So if that scenario repeats and Coinbase has a lot of liquid cash hanging out, they can probably pull the trigger and get one. Get two. Buy one, get one free. Great.
But that's a lot of regulation, and who wants that regulation?
Well,
And
I think
there are small banks that can't afford the regulation anymore, and maybe that might be enough.
Tim, have you thought about running for the 2020 elections? You know?
For what?
You know, we could like get you out there. I mean, I think the bar is set so low that I think you can easily jump. No?
Yeah, that would really be, you know, it is
I mean, we can do
It's-
we can fragment each state and decentralize each state, and instead of 50 states, we could just go like 500 states.
Actually, that was in my vision plan. You turn California into 6, New York turns into 3, Illinois turns into 2.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Texas 5. All of a sudden, you start seeing real competition amongst states for us.
Yes.
And I think that would be an amazing thing. But I think it's coming anyway. I think this decentralized world, it's going to make it so that we can go across border. We can, if we don't like what one government is doing for us, we can move to another government.
Right.
We are much more mobile. The governments are getting much more virtual, so that they can do more things across those borders. Estonia has their own virtual
E-citizenship.
government
Yep.
across. I'm a virtual resident of Estonia. You
Yep.
could become a virtual resident
Yep.
of Estonia. They got about 100,000 virtual residents. It's like 10% of their base population.
Yep.
People are going to start thinking this way. It's like, what services, what government-like services can I get from this private company or this country that was created on a boat 11 miles offshore, or from or I can take my Social Security from Chile and my medical insurance from Canada,
Yep.
and I can start thinking about this just the way we think about being a consumer of any services. This is that world's happening, and there will be governments that fight it and try to control everything, like what China's doing right now, or there'll be governments that embrace it, like Japan making Bitcoin a national currency. So this is a really interesting time in world history, and I think we're all recognizing that we're all one big world,
Right.
and those geographic borders were very artificial and maybe don't necessarily have to be there. I'm not sure exactly what we're keeping out or keeping in by putting
Right.
up a wall. I think we've got to be very open, and the world's opening up, and we're all a part of it. And you guys are leading the charge. So go do great stuff. I have to go.
I know.
And I want to put in a plug for Wired because they fed me lunch. Okay.
Go Wired. I think they want to take a quick photo.
Thank you.
So next, 4 speakers are going to wow you with the decentralization theme. First up is Colin from Presearch. Thank you, Colin, for coming. And you coming out here from Canada?
Yep, Toronto.
Nice. Wow, more
Yeah,
people from LA
Toronto.
then. Well, I'll let you take it away. Here's your
Cool.
clicker. If you need anything, holler.
Okay, thanks, man. Hi there, everyone. My name is Colin Pape. I am the founder of Presearch. We are building the people's search engine. We've been at this for about 1.5 years full-time, but it was really an idea that had its genesis in about 2013 after we ran into a little bit of skirmished with Google and realized exactly how powerful they were. Since then, they've become even more powerful. About 96% of all searches are run through Google. They control many of the world's top destinations on the web. And we looked at it and realized that it was really one of the most centralized services and points within the entire world. And so we started looking at how we could potentially create a model that would provide a framework for the people of the world to challenge Google in time. Obviously, they're the most successful company on the web. It's going to take a number of years. But we see a way that if we give people the tools, they can create a better experience than the Google centralized service. Google is a company with about 70,000 employees, but really there are only a few thousand that are actually working on search now. Most of them are working on other products. So if you think about the fact that a few thousand people really control the access to the world's information, and that they have built into their system various biases and filters of which we really know nothing about, I think it's an imperative, really, that we develop some type of way to minimize our reliance on their service. And so we have a concept that we're working on over time that will enable subject matter experts to participate within the system, curate information, teams of data scientists to create different algorithms and feed them into the system, as well as for users to run nodes on their computers and participate in the crawling and the indexing of the web. That's really the vision where we're going. But in the short term, we've developed a service that enables you to search Google as well as all of the other search engines that exist on the web. And we've had some pretty strong consumer success. We've signed up more than 750,000 users in the past 6 months. And it's a service that protects people's privacy. It rewards them for engaging with the system with a Presearch token, PRE. And it also gives them control and choice. So it's primarily targeting power users, those who are active on the web, and it's giving them a way to save time by directing their search into a resource that they may want to go directly into rather than receive Google's vanilla results. So it's a really exciting opportunity. We've had some fantastic feedback. The model continues to evolve. We've attracted some great people to our team. One of the open source search experts of the world, Trey Granger, Rich Skrenta, who was the founder of the Open Directory project, which was really one of the first kind of search resources on the web, as well as some other blockchain experts like Anthony DiOrio from Ethereum. So yeah, we're really excited about what we're launching over the next 30 days. If you're interested, please check out presearch.org. You'll be seeing a new ad unit that we think could really revolutionize the marketing world and provide users with a way to earn from their data rather than be the product that is being monetized. So thanks for coming out, and please check out the site. Thanks, Kurt.
Hang tight. Come on in. Do you guys have any questions for Colin?
Cool.
Well, next time you do a search, right?
That's right.
What are the things that they probably don't realize is happening on Google search?
I mean, we're obviously building up their index every time we use it. We are making their service smarter, which does benefit us in some respects, but really we are handing Google this opportunity to monetize all the world's information. They're bringing in 86% of their revenue. It's close to $100 billion from local communities, from other communities all over the world, and really centralizing it within their coffers. We see a way to have a much more distributed network that will put some of those resources back into the broader community.
So just as a rough example, if I were to do 100 searches a day or 1,000 searches a month, how much money can I get back?
With Presearch?
But just in general,
In general?
How much should Google be giving me back?
So a lot of people don't realize just how much value there is in that transactional intent. So demographic information is really valuable, but what's really valuable is that moment of transaction and knowing your intent and that ability to provide you with information that may influence your decision. So the average cost per click is $2.63, but they range anywhere from 50 cents on the low end up to $300 at the high end. And so that transactional intent is hugely valuable, and a lot of brands are being forced to pay Google to market on their own brand, which is something that they don't really love doing. And so they would rather have a way to build a direct relationship with their audience and with their user base, and to provide people with that exact amount of money. So it could be hundreds of dollars.
Okay, got it. And how can people download or start using it?
Yep, you can go to presearch.org, or you can go into the Apple App Store. We have an iOS app that's in alpha, looking for feedback on that. So that would be fantastic.
And aren't you inviting all of these guys to Canada for an after party?
Yes, definitely. Come on up to Canada. It's only negative 10 degrees.
Nice.
A few feet of snow. It's great.
All right, thanks, Colin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kurt.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Next up is Bret Cox from True.
So hi folks, Happy New Year, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Bret Cox, CEO of a new kind of social media company called True. In 2018, we saw the titans of social media, mainly Facebook, weather one privacy scandal after another. From the Cambridge Analytica fiasco in the spring to news less than a month ago that app developers access photos from millions of accounts, and the many, many fires in between. It is a long, rough year for Facebook. Of course, the big social companies have a target on their back. In 2019, consumer data is more valuable than any precious metal, and when you're sitting on a treasure trove of the most valuable commodity in the world, you're gonna attract a few pirates. 2018 will be remembered as the year people finally realized social media giants are making money by exploiting privacy. Over and over again, they have proven that they can't be trusted with user data because their business models are incentivized to do the wrong things with personal information. Facebook's fundamental problem is not foreign interference, spam bots, trolls, or fame mongers. It's the company's core business model, and abandoning it is not an option. In pursuit of growth at all costs, you have become the product. The only way to maintain this growth is to manipulate users in ever more devious and clever ways through monetizing their personal information. This is a recent quote that I literally love from Tim Cook at Apple. Our own information, from the everyday to the deeply personal, is being weaponized against us with military efficiency. These scraps of data, each one harmless enough on its own, are carefully assembled, synthesized, traded, and sold. Taken to the extreme, this process creates an enduring digital profile and lets companies know you better than you know yourself. Your profile has become a bunch of algorithms that serve up increasingly extreme content, pounding our harmless preferences into harm. We shouldn't sugarcoat the consequences. This is surveillance. Like Tim, at True, we believe that privacy is a fundamental human right. So we're building privacy and trust into our core technologies from the beginning to protect user data. We believe privacy means much more than having the right not to share your personal information. Privacy means trusting that your decisions about how your information is shared and used are being respected. We're building the world's first decentralized system that will democratize privacy, giving power back to social media users. This solution includes an honest data agreement powered by and guaranteed with blockchain. Our platform enables this by combining a blockchain repurposed as an access control moderator. Users are not required to trust any third party and are always aware of the data that is being collected about them and how it is being used. Both the user and service share an encrypted master key to the data barn, and the user alone controls how that key is being used, including changing access without the service requiring trust or control. We don't let brands build profiles on the system or post directly to our users, and we guarantee that personal data will never be accessed by a third party. With this model, it's not possible for bad actors or to scrape or transfer user data like the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Users can trust that they control their information and feel comfortable sharing on the platform. The simple fact remains that unless you designed against it from the very beginning, technology tends to centralize power, and the stakes are too high to ignore. We believe Facebook cannot be fixed, so we're going to replace it. This is the next version of True, codenamed Happy Valley, coming in 2019. Isn't it beautiful? Spent a lot of time working on it. Real people sharing original content. True is a positive place to remember and share your best life. The golden metric at Big Social is average annual ad revenue per user, or AARPU. The primary thing that we measure at True is, do you feel better after you use the service? Focused on sharing with smaller groups and with location and motion-powered experiences users can't find anyplace else, we're making social a safe, happy place again with an honest solution instead of clickbait, soundbite trash, and the worst kinds of personal data mining. Already leveraging 2 million growing users at scale, in 2019, True will become the largest active network in the world to implement an end-to-end decentralized privacy solution. Real change is rare, but all of this is possible, and we hope you'll join us on this journey. You can download True today from the Apple or Google Play Store, or find us anytime at www.trueapp.co. You can buy the token that powers this new social media economy at truetokensale.com. Send me a friend request and join us as we build the future of social media.
Thank you, Bret.
Sure.
Do you happen to know how much Facebook actually generates revenue from a user?
Yeah, so right now, it's funny, we heard Zuckerberg after all this saying, people saying, why don't you just switch to a subscription model, charge people $6 to $12 a month, and call it good. The reality is they're currently generating about $200 of annual ad revenue per user. So there's no subscription that they could possibly offer.
So they're doomed.
They're doomed.
They're doomed.
Right. It can only go up and to the right. It can never go back, right?
Got it. Well, cool. Thank you, Bret. Thank you for showing us. And this is live right now on the App
It's
Store?
live right now. Yeah,
Okay.
True's available right now. The new design that I showed you is coming out this year, and we hope to have a completely decentralized solution done by the end of the year. There's a lot of people working on it. It's a large venture-funded project based, of course, in San Francisco.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Bret.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Kristoffer. Kristoffer, come on up.
Hi, guys. So happy to be with all of you here today. It's been a wonderful day of amazing conversation. Brock Pierce said earlier that the drop in market price has gotten rid of the riffraff and the bad people. And I was a little bummed out when I saw that attendance was down this year, but then I realized that all the people that didn't come back were very, very bad people. And you guys are the good people. That's so awesome, and I'm so happy to talk to you guys today, the good people, about what we're doing with Big Token. Big Token is a platform for consumers to own and earn from their data. In the 1999 film, The Matrix, Neo wakes up and learns that he was a part of someone's machine. I was having a conversation recently with a data seller. I was sharing the Big Token vision, and they told me if our intent was to expose consumer data to the consumers that created it, they wouldn't support that use case. You are a part of someone's machine. People are earning from you and monetizing you every day and your data without your knowledge or permission. You can change this. We're beginning to build tools and solutions to give you more power. You can do something right now, that's take out your phone, check your location services. And if an app doesn't need your services for what it provides you, turn that off. When you give out your permission to your location, you're giving a piece of yourself away. Take that back. And keep your phones out because you're going to need it in a minute. SRAX is a NASDAQ-listed marketing and data technology company. We experience firsthand every day the challenges that come up with consumer data. That's why we created BigToken. BigToken is a platform for consumers to take back their data and earn from it. We're live in the App Store today. Go to the App Store, you have your phone out, download BigToken, use the referral code Megatron. The first person that does this here, I'll give you $100 when I'm done talking. Whole C-note. Every industrial revolution has utilized a core resource. Fourth industrial revolution is turning over now. We're in the midst of huge change. Unlike the previous industrial revolutions, data will be our core resource. And unlike the revolutions before, data comes from each of us. Not the earth provided our previous resources, data is coming from us. You've heard if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. All of these companies utilize you to make money. Turns out, if you're paying for the product, you're also still the product. All of these companies, and hundreds more, take your data and sell it on a day-by-day basis. Advancements in technology have created an explosion of the data we're able to capture. You've created more data in the last 2 years than the entirety of your life before that. In the next 2 years, you'll 2x that. So much data is being created, right? And we're starting to wake up to that. We're waking up to the data that we create. We're waking up to its value. We're starting to understand that we are a part of someone's machine. And when you understand that, you can start to beat the machine. Just like Neo. Remember the Kung Fu moment? His best line ever in any film. Every industrial revolution has created new rights. New rights have emerged from each of these cycles. The rights that emerge from the fourth industrial revolution will be data rights. Your data rights and your identity rights. At BigToken, we think about intrinsic data value. That's the body of data that you create and will create over the course of your life and how much that's worth. We want to give you a way to capture that and retain that and have choice, transparency, and compensation. When we think about the foundation of the new rights that will emerge, it's choice, transparency, and compensation. So again, download BigToken. Second person that does it gets $50. I have a lot of cash in my wallet. We're in Las Vegas. I'll see you at Blackjack later. So that's it. Take back your data. Utilize platforms that pay you, not take from you. Thank you very much.
Here's your clicker.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and that's the timer.
So, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bruce Khavar. I'm a CEO of two companies. One of them is Cyber Advanced Technology, and the other one is A-NEX. Cyber Advanced Technology has created a next-gen internet, and A-NEX is basically taking advantage of that in cybersecurity, as well as the cryptocurrency next-gen. Now, why I'm saying next-gen? Many people are under the impression that basically cryptocurrency is secure or blockchain is secure. I have a breaking news for today. The Coinbase, a San Francisco-based exchange company, they basically stopped the Coinbase stopped the ETC trading today, or on the 5th. They realized that basically about 219,500 ETC was basically did the double spending. Effectively, some group of hackers, or as many as they are, they have access to over 51% of the main net of ETC. So that's not as secure as we think. The other one is like about a few months ago, like 4 or 5 months ago, some Russian scientists, they managed to take out the private key from the general public key, which means basically that if they use the quantum computer, which is 11 million times faster than a normal computer, then there is no safety in any blockchain. They can go and take the private key and do whatever they want to do. So that's really not a bad news. The point is that blockchain is in development. Definitely is very disruptive. Definitely is bringing totally a new era to the human civilization. So it's an revolutionary, basically pathway and operation that's going to happen whether we like it or not. So that is our next, basically, evolution of the civilized human being. Now, I have only 3 minutes, so I have to rush through it very fast. But we have used our cybersecurity technology. Number one, we proved it in the marketplace. We are the only cybersecurity company that we allowed the hackers attack us 4 times, and was arranged by the third party. It was arranged by the government of Korea, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 4 times. And every time with the elite hackers of the world. And we allowed them to attack us and do whatever they want to do. All 4 times, they basically announced that our system is unhackable. That's why we call it unhackable cloud. And the last time was in November 2018, beginning of November, in a very big money show, a very big show in South Korea. They called Money Show. And that one, they got 4 teams from the 4 different countries. And these are elite team of the countries, including Korea, that they won gold prizes, gold hacking prizes like 3 times. And so they created a control system, and they created our system. So again, all done by the Korean government under the Professor Park. So all these 4 elite teams from 4 different countries in Asia, they all broke in to the normal cybersecurity systems, the same famous names that you've seen. Cisco, FireEye, whoever. They broke in under 10 minutes, every 4 of them. And then they tried to break into us from the 9 o'clock or 10 minutes after 9 till 5 o'clock, and they could not even make a scratch. Or the first established reconnaissance they could not do. So they announced that our system is unhackable. The end result is now Korean government is considering it as a next generation internet infrastructure for the Korea. So security is very important, and that's something we already proven it. And some reporter asked me, why you're the only one who have done it? I said, well, actually it's a question you should ask the other people, because we did it because we thought it's necessary. The other aspect is performance. And that's, everybody is talking, there are a lot of speakers, they talk about the blockchain, and they can replace this, they can replace that. But in reality, Bitcoin, the transaction per second is about 8 transactions per second. Very human intensive, what's called mining. And Ethereum is 11 transactions per second, or to 12. Now, considering that with a Visa, which is 20 million transactions, they have a long way to go. In my opinion, they never get there. Which means what? Is it pessimistic? Is it a bad view of the future? No. It means that the paradigm has to shift. The paradigm has to change. And for every natural phenomenon on Earth, in the universe, we have basically for example, fish lives in the water, bird in the sky. They're natural. Bird is natural to the sky. Fish is natural to the ocean, to the sea. Human beings that can be the great swimmer, like all these great gold medal winners that we have in the Olympics, but they can never compete with the smallest fish, because fish is fish, designed for the water. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, right now, Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrency is about transaction. Transaction is about money. So you pay and you get something. That's transaction. There is nothing beyond that. Human being does action. So we are basically trying to use the Bitcoin or coin or any of the cryptocurrency as money. In my opinion, they're never going to win against banks if it goes this way. But it's not going this way. Because the future, as I put there, is about a smart city. A smart city is happening in every country in the world. And Korea started 10 years ago. In China, the northern China, they're making a huge city, only a smart city. What's the definition of smart city? They say smart city is by connected devices. That is good, but it's not complete. A smart city is about autonomous devices, which means that they're predicting by 2020-40, there are about 50 billion devices in the world. They're all interconnected. They're all intelligent. What is the meaning of autonomous? It means that they can make decisions on their own. They can trade with another system. My phone can trade with your phone. Your phone can trade with my refrigerator. My refrigerator can trade with something, or with the UPS. So that is the upcoming world, which is now, we're not too far away from it. Definitely less than 10 years. So in this pathway, money cannot compete. Wells Fargo cannot compete. I don't care. The largest bank in the world cannot compete. So they have to change. They have to change, and they have no other choice. It's a force of nature. So in that world, we have a lot of autonomous system, and we have human being. The human being makes heuristic decision. The kind of decision that a machine cannot do. Machines at the highest intelligence, they don't have heuristic ability. We say we like the red, we like blue, and we don't know even why, because we feel like it. That's heuristic. Machine cannot make that kind of decision. So, human being, as was said by Laplace, the kind of founder of computer systems, he said that we should let the mundane work to be done by the human being, by the machines, and human being makes intelligent decision. That's very profound word. This is the person who created binary system. So the world will be the world that machines will do a lot of reliable work. They don't get tired, they don't get angry, they don't get upset. And then human beings will make the intelligent decision. So then action means that now the people could get rewarded. People can participate. So if you're a good mother at home, just being a good mother and taking care of the kids, that mother can be rewarded. And that's impossible through a banking system, because banking is about transaction, not action. And so also in the company, we created the next generation blockchain, which I cannot get into it more deeply because it's too technical. But basically, we are talking about the blockchain kind of environment that can do 50 million transactions per second, not trying to get from 8. So going to that environment, we're starting it from that environment. Done deal. Okay. So I'm sorry. So these are the coins that we have. I'm sorry, there's no time for questions. Thank you very much. Okay.